What's up guys, it's Mike for Sim Racing 604 and welcome to rFactor 2 once again. So rFactor 2 very recently released a GT3 pack. It's a 4-car DLC pack, actually 5 if you count the previously released McLaren. And yeah, so I just want to kind of go through a quick review of these cars. I'm not going to drive all of them, but just kind of give you my impressions of the cars and try and answer the question of whether or not it is worth buying. So I'm here at Lime Rock Park, the all chicanes version, so this isn't going to be a high-speed test, that's for sure, but we'll test out the handling. So I'm not going to get too deep into what GT3 is in the world of racing. If you guys own a racing sim of any kind, you probably already know of GT3. GT3 seems pretty ubiquitous throughout the world of sim racing. It's funny too because it seems somewhat devoid, at least in North America, it's somewhat devoid of superstars. You know I can talk to more people about DTM than I can about GT3, and yet GT3 appears all over the place. So I think people just like the cars. I think people like the idea of having supercars, you know, homologated to a standard set of rules and kind of a level playing field that puts the onus on the driver and the reliability of the car to win races instead of, I guess, technology. Whatever it is, GT3 does seem very, very popular in the world of sim racing. So with this pack, we get this, what I'm driving now, the Callaway Corvette. There's a Bentley Continental, a Mercedes AMG. I told you about the previously released McLaren 650 and 650S, excuse me. And also we get a Radical. And yes, if you're asking yourself, you know, how have I never seen Radical in GT3 races? Well, it's because it's not fully homologated. This is not an official. The Radical is not an official GT3 car. So just kind of a cool ad. I know I've been doing a lot of videos on GT Sport lately, and I've been saying that I don't like the Vision GT. So I got a lot of comments back saying, yeah, but it's cool that they're actually bringing something new to the table. And in that same vein, I would think that the Radical is a cool addition to the GT3 pack because as far as I know, it doesn't appear in any other sim. So very, very cool in that regard. So I talked about the 5 cars. They all sound great, by the way. I don't know how much you can hear of this. I've got it turned way down so you can hear my voice, but the cars sound great, particularly the Mercedes and the Chevrolet, the Callaway that I'm in now. They both sound great, both very, very deep engine notes, and I think they've done a great job of capturing that. And driving-wise, they're all very, very stable. I find the Mercedes is a bit more jumpy than the others, but certainly with the great handling physics of rFactor 2, it is controllable and won't give you too much trouble. And the Radical definitely handles more like an open wheeler, so I'm actually going to jump into that car momentarily, and then we will talk about what this all means and is this thing worth buying. Excuse me. Pardon me. But the short answer to are these good cars? Yes, they have done a great job of capturing everything GT3 should be, and these things are really, really fun to drive. Like I say, they look great, and especially as rFactor steps into the DirectX 11 world, these things look very, very sharp, and they sound great, they drive great. So next up, we will answer the question of whether or not they are worth the buy. Alright, so we're back here now in the Radical RXC GT3. Hoping to answer the question, I'm so sorry about my throat, guys. Hoping to answer the question about whether or not this car is worth buying, this pack of cars is worth buying. And it's a difficult question to answer because no doubt they've done a great job recreating these GT3 cars, and again, the addition of the Radical is kind of cool. It's bringing something new to the table, so I do like that. However, the question of whether or not it's worth it, a lot of that boils down to what you're actually going to do. If you just kind of casually race rFactor 2, this may not be the pack for you. Reason being is it is very expensive, and I don't know how to sugarcoat that. I paid $22 Canadian. I assume it's about $15 US, and I'm sorry I'm bad with my euro conversions once again. But that's a lot of money. That's half of what this game is selling for on Steam. So a DLC pack of just 4 cars, maybe 5 if you didn't buy the McLaren previously, is you know, half the value of the game. That seems like a lot. Again, that's not to discredit the work they've done developing these cars, because they are very, very cool cars. However, it just seems like a whole lot of money for DLC. If you compare that, and I know we shouldn't compare across sims, I try to avoid it as much as possible, but just for pricing reference, you know, what Assetto Corsa does with their DLC packs, just seems like you get a whole lot more for, you know, $15. But yeah, so that's kind of my feeling on it. With that said, again, if you're a fan of rFactor 2, and a lot of people are, myself included, and you race it a lot, this is probably worth the buy. Reason being is I could see this thing, because again you have the standardized performance specs on these things, I could see this being a popular league car. So if you plan on joining a racing league for rFactor 2, you should probably go ahead and get the pack, because I suspect there will be a lot of these races popping up. And yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. So very cool. I'm enjoying it, but I would not say this is a immediately rush out and buy it pack. And also, it comes at a funny time. I don't know exactly what the guys behind this game were thinking. It came with very little, you know, I guess marketing, fanfare, whatever you want to call it, and just kind of snuck its way out. We just kind of got a notification on, I think it was Race Department that reported. I actually saw it on Reddit before Race Department even had it up, and yeah, they just kind of snuck it out there. Unfortunately, it was the day before the release of Gran Turismo Sport, and make no mistake, however you feel about Gran Turismo Sport, it will outsell this game, you know, 100 or 1,000 to 1. Gran Turismo Sport's going to be huge, so while the sim racing world, or the racing game world, is focused on that, they just snuck out a DLC pack, so I'm not sure everybody even knew this thing was released, so kind of funny on in that regard. Not to mention, it's some stiff competition right now, because Automobilista seems to be at its peak. Assetto Corsa with that Ferrari DLC pack seems to, you know, be making a major resurgence, I guess you could say. It never fell off, but just seems more dominant than ever, Assetto Corsa, right now in terms of online racing and modding. So very interesting timing by the guys behind rFactor 2. But again, very cool cars, and actually the marketing should have no bearing on whether or not you buy this. So I don't recommend that you not buy it. It's very cool, but I would just say that yeah, you're gonna have to, in order to justify the price, you're gonna have to drive it a lot. So give some consideration to whether or not you think you will drive rFactor 2 a lot in the future. If not, you can probably hold on to your $15 US. And yeah, this is the Radical, by the way, and it handles far more like an open wheeler, kind of like how I prefer cars to handle, and this thing is a blast. I got a modded track of Nordschleife for rFactor 2, so I'd love to give that one a run, and you may see a video of that in the near future. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching, and we will see you very soon.